Hello YouTube, how are you? Natalia here. Hoping you're having a good day. Today I am going to do a little race report on the Tushars Marathon. If you follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, you already know I did race a beautiful mountain race this past weekend in Utah, at Beaver, Utah. It's called Tushars Mountain Run, and it's a big event with a half marathon, a marathon. They also have a 70K, which I think is about 43 miles about, and they also have a 100K, which is 62 miles. Oh, it's a great race. I am so happy I did it. I heard about this race a couple of years ago, and I wasn't into trail running that much back then. I was still doing a lot of road running, trying to qualify for Boston, and but now, as you know, I am mostly running on trails. It has been almost a year now, and I am just loving it. I am loving it. I still like road running. I believe there is a place for road running too, and road running gave me a lot of joy and a lot of sadness too, if you know what I mean. And so I will never talk bad about road running, but now that I am doing trail running, I'm really enjoying it a lot more. So, and also I really like doing ultra running, and there are not too many ultra runs, ultra races that are held on roads. So I am kind of forced to run on trails. Anyhow, enough talking about that. I have had a few people contacting me and asking me about the Tushars Mountain runs, and I am going to talk a little bit about it. Maybe you want to do it next year or the year after, and hopefully I have something to share that will make it a little bit safer, a little bit more enjoyable, and yes. So to start with, I have to say that I did the marathon. And I highly recommend that if you can do the marathon instead of the half marathon, I highly recommend you to do it. The views are unbelievable. They are really breathtaking. At times I was overwhelmed by the beauty of the place. It's so green, and the mountains are so majestic. There are wild flowers all over the place. It's mostly single track, and there is a little bit of road, dirt road, but the dirt road it's uphill. So for a runner like me, at where I am at now on my fitness level, I kind of power hike them. I couldn't run them; they were too steep uphill, and it's not a lot of road, a little bit. And then there were some areas where there was no trail, so you basically had to follow flags, orange flags, and that way you know where you were going. So the race, the marathon, started at about 10,000 feet altitude, a little bit higher, 10,000 feet altitude plus, and at the ski resort, Eagle Point Ski Resort, and they were having some construction, and we also had a very bad thunderstorm the night before. So there was a lot of mud, and it was kind of tricky at the beginning of the race. Well, the whole race is tricky and technical, but from the get-go we got a very technical terrain because of the construction. There was so much loose dirt, and there was actually a gentleman in front of me and he fell really bad, and we were running for about 3 minutes, and there was already somebody falling. So it was very muddy, wet. The shoes got wet right away. I had wet feet right away. And so you start on a little bit downhill, and then immediately you start climbing. And it seems like the climb never stops. Honestly, it's a tough race. You're climbing a lot. The marathon has 7,000 feet elevation gain, and as you know, or maybe you don't know, I don't know, but running at high altitude between 10,000 feet and above 12,000 feet, as this race is, it's more difficult to breathe. There is not as much oxygen there. So 7,000 feet elevation gain at sea level will feel completely different than at 12,000 feet. So it was challenging, but and we had many creek crossings. Some of them were small, some of them were bigger, some of them had bridges over, some of them had only a branch of a tree that I actually had to be on my fours crossing that one because I was scared to fall. And the first aid station is at about mile 8, so you need to know that you have to run for about 8 miles without any assistance. And the aid station was phenomenal. There was a young lady there, and as I get to that aid station, she proceeds to tell me that another competitor, a woman, she already had fallen and she broke her hand. So that made me, I was already going very conservatively, but since from that point on I went a lot more conservatively because I didn't want to hurt myself. I work with my hands. As you know, I am a massage therapist, so if I hurt these two, I am out of work, and I really I wouldn't like to be in that situation because I really love what I do, and my clients rely on me, so I need to be there for them when they need me. So yeah, so hurting was not an option for me, so I took it a little bit easy. I used my hiking poles. I got black diamond hiking poles. I got the aluminum ones, not the carbon ones, and they were perfect. And I used them from the beginning because pretty much you start climbing from the get-go. So I used them all the time. After mile 8, I had to stop. I had to spend a lot of time in this race stopping and taking rocks out of my shoes. When I see on my Garmin Connect, I spent an hour just stopping and rearranging my shoes, rearranging my pack. I made a couple of mistakes carrying too much stuff, and I carry my GoPro camera and it was poking me on the back really bad, so I had to stop to rearrange that. And as I said, I had to stop many times to get rocks out of my shoes. So I will highly recommend gaiters. I will definitely wear gaiters next time. And so far, what I see that you need is it's a good hydration system. You will need to carry at least 40 ounces of fluids because the aid stations are separated by 8 miles, and those are not easy 8 miles. It's not like when you run on road that 8 miles go by. Like in an hour you could do 8 miles in an hour and 15 minutes. It was taking me about 2 hours and a half to do 8 miles. So you need a good hydration system to carry enough fluids and some food with you. And also I recommend the hiking poles. It's my first time racing with hiking poles, and coming from a road fast racing, it's kind of like I kind of didn't want to use them because I said I am a runner, I'm not a hiker. But these kind of races, I became a hiker. It was a lot of hiking, a lot of power hiking. So they came in super handy, mostly on the downhills, because after you pass the aid station at mile 8, you keep on climbing, and the climb gets steeper and more steeper, and the terrain is very technical. So the footing is never even. It's always twisting ankles and always jumping, and the downhill at times it's super steep down, and it's like gravel, and so you need good shoes with a lot of grip, very good trail shoes, and the poles come in handy to help you. I mean, they really help me to not fall. So, and then the other thing I really think I was missing on this race was the gaiters, because I spent a ton of time taking rocks out of my shoes because it was so technical. So yeah, so you keep on going, and then you start climbing up to the Delano Peak, which is the highest point of the race. It's 12,196 feet, and that area going into the Delano is just heaven. It's so beautiful, and the mountains are majestic, and I am not sure if it's the scenery or the lack of oxygen, I don't know, but I was overwhelmed by the beauty of the place. I cried a little bit just because it made my soul so happy. I don't know, I don't want to sound too much like a drama queen, but so it's really beautiful, but it's brutal. There is no trail, you just you follow the flags, and you will get there. I have to mention that Jubilee, one of the race directors of this race, was there on top of the Delano with her doggy, her little cute doggy, taking pictures of us, and I thought that was so sweet and so thoughtful, and it really made me so happy. And the pictures are free, so I got this amazing professional camera, great definition pictures of me in the mountains for free. So that was really good. And I will say that Aravapaiva, I don't know how you pronounce it, put another phenomenal race together. I mean, I race with these guys at least once a year. This is my second race of the year. I did Black Canyon Ultra in February, and they have never disappointed me. They are really good. The course was marked perfectly. I did have a couple of times, like 2 or 3 times, that I had to stop and wait for the runner behind me to make sure I was in the right place, but it wasn't crazy. It was just a couple of times. So I was really happy with the marking too. And so then once, so we were at the Delano Peak. So you get up to the Delano, and the views from there are 360 of the Tushars Mountain range, and it's just unbelievably beautiful. From the Delano Peak, there is about 2 miles or 1.5 miles or 2 miles that you go very steep downhill, and again it's very technical. It's really rocky. There is no trail at times, and the footing is super tricky. So, and it's very steep. So I did a good job. I was happy with the way I could run it, but for sure it was just very slow shuffle. And you can see the second aid station from there, but so you think you are gonna get there fast, but oh boy, No. After you pick the Delano, there are still like 4 miles before you hit the other aid station, and at mile 16 about, and I thought I was never gonna get there. It was all uphill on a dirt road. There were a lot of ATVs and trucks and motorcycles, so it was a very busy, at that time of the day at least, a busy road. So yeah, it was, I had to be, you know, watching around me because the cars were coming and going, and motorcycles, and so, and it's a very steep dirt road until you finally get to the Mud Lake aid station, and it's a phenomenal aid station. They have everything, and the kitchen sink there, they were so nice, you know, like super helpful, just really, really, it was phenomenal. So there I had some M&Ms and some potatoes with salt, and I had a little bit of Gatorade, and I refilled my bottles with water, and I took again one more time rocks out of my shoes, and yeah, and then I kept on going. After the second aid station, you keep on climbing a little bit more, but maybe for half of a mile. It's not too long, maybe 10 minutes. And then you start, that's a runnable area. That's the area where you can run. But I got caught on a thunderstorm. So it was kind of scary because, you know, I don't know, I didn't know for how long and how bad it was gonna be. So it was about maybe 4 miles that was runnable, and so yeah, I ran under the rain, and there were so many creeks to cross, and it was scary and fun and fast, and that area was the fastest probably. Those 4 miles were the fastest of the race, just because of the terrain is conducive. You can run, it's single track and not too technical, and it's kind of flattish, so you can run. And also the thunderstorm was for sure pushing the pace. So once you are out of that area, you get one more time, you get to this dirt road that is uphill again, and that road leads you to aid station number 3 and last aid station before you hit the finishing line. That aid station, I believe, was at mile 22, and the other race director was there. His name is Jamil. I don't know if I'm butchering his name, but anyway, and he had 2 kids there, and it was so nice also to see that the race directors were there taking care of us, and again, that aid station had everything you can think of, a lot of supplies, a lot of goodies and drinks, and so it was really, really nice. And so I filled my bottles there, I think, and I ate some M&Ms again. I don't know why I was into an M&M, I don't know, I was on a mission to eat M&Ms at every aid station. I usually don't eat M&Ms, I am more of a Skittles kind of girl, but anyway. And yeah, and from there I had 4 miles to go, so it was uphill again. I'm telling you, it felt like it was uphill both ways. It was a lot of climbing. So yeah, you keep on going uphill, and until a point where you merge with the loop that you started before. I don't know how to explain this, but you merge on the same loop, and you make a right and cross some more creeks. There were a lot of creeks crossing, I don't know. And at that point, I didn't care. I was walking on the water. I was like, you know, my feet will get wet. I don't care. I want to finish. I want to get to the finishing line. I was ready. But it's beautiful. It's very, very pretty. it's one of those races that is so, the scenery is so beautiful that you forget about the pain, you forget about the effort, because I don't know, I'm telling you, you have to do it. I highly recommend this race to everybody. So yeah, so then I ran into, I didn't run into anybody from the top of the Delano to almost the finishing line, where I ran into this guy, that poor thing, he was dry heaving, he was having issues. So I passed him, and I asked him if he was okay, and he said he was okay, and we were almost at the finishing line. So I don't like to pass people so close to the finishing line, because it's such a big effort to finish these races, that I think it's kind of like, you know, like, I don't know, I don't like to do that. But the guy was really standing up in place and not moving. So I kept on going, and so it's downhill, that part. It's all the uphill you did early in the morning, and so yeah. And then when I see the leaves of the ski resort, and I am like, yes, I am done, I make a right. You have to make a right to go to the finishing line, and it's a straight uphill, and I'm like, oh my god, for real. So I hiked it, and all of a sudden I started hearing my name, and my buddies were there, and that made me so happy that I started kind of power hiking and just finishing in a very high note with my friends, that they were doing the marathon too. They were done at that point. They were waiting for me, and that was so nice. So yes, so I don't know, I hope this race report helps you a little bit. If you have any questions, something I forgot to say a lot of things, but so ask me below if you have any questions regarding this race. I will answer you. And then what else? Like this video if you want me to keep on doing race reports and talking about the racing I am doing, or my training. I am always running a lot. I'm always climbing mountains and doing beautiful stuff. And so like this video and subscribe to my channel. I am planning to keep on posting videos with my adventures, and yes, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you probably in a week. Bye!